Hello everyone, this is Ryan. I'm from Chicago and I wanted to share with y'all my experience with two headphones that I was looking for. I was really kind of turned off by the more expensive joints, the $200 ones, the $150 ones. The most popular one seems to be the one that people just wear for, I guess, credit or, uh, for the flex. But the sound quality wasn't there for me. And honestly, I couldn't justify spending that amount. But then I bought some really cheap ones from off of Amazon that wasn't sufficient either. I mean, the sound quality on it was high distortions, and I like bass. So quality sound with bass is super important to me. So I have two headphones that I got for 20% off on both of them that I wanted to share just to kind of reach out to the person that's like me, medium priced headphones that also sound good and also do bass well. Two that I have are the Tunes 120s and the E55s by Raycon. JBL is a popular brand that I have on like both speakers, and friends have speakers, and my sister has a speaker. So it was just really super important to me when I came across this and it was on sale for 20% off. Traditionally it's $100, but I got it for 80. I had to kind of jump down on it. And I got those over the free Trues, or the free Trues, because the free Trues only have one headphone jack that works on phone quality, whereas the Tunes have both headphones work in terms of phone quality. So that was my reasoning for getting one over the other, but we'll get into that later on in the process. And I ended up going with the E55s versus the E25s or the E100s because I did like the wireless mechanism, and it had a much larger charge than even the the E100s. So that's why I ended up going with those. I would be interested in hearing more from people who have experienced all three of those sets to see what the sound quality is, but the E55 was justifiably $20 more than the E25s, and that's why I went with those. Plus, they were on sale for 20% off, so it just made the most sense to go ahead and grab them for the 80 piece as opposed to $67 for the non-wireless ones. But the next step up is the accessories on both. They both come with extra earpieces. The JBLs, they come with their own set that comes on the headphones, which are like a medium, and it comes with two larger and two smaller ones. So a total of 6 headphone jacks on them, which is fine for me as long as I find one that fits well. Whereas the Raycons, they come with a total of 12. There's 2 on the actual headphones and an additional 5 on the case, going from extra small all the way to extra large. I guess that's super important because that means a lot more people can rock these and have the sound noise canceling that comes through the traditional earbuds mechanism. But like if one works on both of them, then it's not really a big deal to me, but I think it's really important to kind of draw out the two differences there. And then more important is the cases. You see the JBL case is much larger and the Raycon case is a little bit smaller in terms of size. The insides as well. You can kind of see headphone jack case in there, standard case in there. Indicators are a little bit more thorough, I think, on the JBLs. You can see when it locks, the charge, white light, 3 lights on there. Whereas the Raycon, if you put the headphones in, there is a brief blue red light on the actual headphone jack. There's no really other indicator about how far along your actual phone is in terms of like charging on there. As far as charging mechanisms on the actual cases themselves, you have a USB mini on the JBL. You can kind of see the traditional orange cable that's on there, USB on the other side. And then on this one, on the Raycon, you have the USB-C. USB-C, to me, is a better option, large in part because on On my iPhone, I have USB-C to Lightning, and most importantly, on my MacBook, you have 4 USB-C ports, and so it's becoming more and more common for me to just have USB-C cables and ports and wall jacks and things of that nature than it is to have the traditional USB or USB Mini. So for me, there's a superiorness there, but gauge on yours to determine which one's more important. One extra element that the Raycon has, this 55 has versus the E25 and also the JBL, is it has wireless mechanism. And so on here, you have the case. I have this charging block that also does a wireless charging mechanism. So you can see that red light there that indicates that the case itself is charging wirelessly. This is a positive for me personally because I do have a lot more wireless functions. I have my iPhone 8 Plus or whatever. I just have more and more wireless function. I think that's the wave of the future, right? Like, where's my cable? That's why I ended up getting this charging brick, because who wants to keep up with that shit? So anyway, I think that that's a positive element, and that's the reason why I went from the E25 to the E55. Not necessarily sure quite yet if that's going to be the reason why I go with the Raycon over the JBL, but we'll talk about that more. Size is the next option. The JBL speaker size is a little bit bigger than the Raycon. So just kind of compare the two. You can kind of see it's a lot larger. It's not as much on the width and the front size, but definitely on the inside and where it goes into your ear. So we'll go ahead and squeeze one of these into each one of the ears so you can kind of get a feel. Obviously, everybody's ears are different, but the ergonomic function as on the headphones actually makes it fit in my ear a lot better than, say, the kind of thicker, wider JBL speaker, which fits in my ear. But in my experience flying to Seattle and back, which was a 11 p.m. flight that got me here at about 5:11, was really super important because I was trying to sleep and also listen to music at the same time. And the JBLs kept falling out of my ears during that period. So to me, that was a not so positive experience as far as true wireless headphones go. And I suspect it's a similar experience. If for a fact somebody who's used it while working out, go ahead and comment in the comment section about your experience. But my assumption is that of the two, the Raycons are going to be a lot better at the sports activity, the head shaking, running kind of activity than necessarily the JBLs. But it's not, to me, it's not a huge functional thing for me. If I worked out more, maybe it would be, but it's not huge for me. Sound quality is the number one thing. And before we get to that point, we should talk about the quality of phone quality. I called the same friend with both headphones, and with the JBL, she asked me to take out the headphones and go to a traditional phone quality. Whereas when I asked her about the Raycons, she said that she could barely even notice that I was on the headphones. In perspective, I'd like to try it out more, but in that one experience, that just using both of them kind of randomly, I understand that the Raycons are a lot better at sound quality versus the JBLs. Also, if you have more experience with either of these or both of these, go ahead and comment below. But I just wanted to kind of squeeze this in and let you know, if you're trying to talk on the phone in them, the Raycons are a better sound. But most important to me, most important to me is the actual sound quality on them. and in that, in terms of music, because honestly, who talks on the phone anymore? I just text, you know. So the sound quality is super important to me. But before we get into there, I want to say that the button to button experience, like when you click this one on the right ear, you're talking about, you know, skipping ahead one, you hit it on the left ear, you skip behind, you do it twice, you know, you skip the song. That's the same on both of these. They're pretty intuitive in that matter. So nothing really comparable. One's not better than the other on it. Can't swipe one and like that's better. So my opinion on in terms of like pressing the buttons is that one's not particularly better than the other, but sound quality, that's where you came to this video for, I'm sure. And so let's just jump right into it. I like heavy bass music. I like bass music. I'm eclectic taste music, but I like bass music, you know. And I brought some cheapo headphones before I even recorded this video. Before I brought these two headphones, I bought some $40 joints off of Amazon. Sound quality on the bass was good, but the distortion was ridiculous. It made the sound so trash. I was just like, I'm Gucci, you know? And I promise, the song that I tried is worth listening to. It's not my favorite song, but the song that I tried to get the fullness of the sound was See Now by the Young Money. That's, you know, really kind of bassful song by Young Money with Tigga, Nicki Minaj, Lil Wayne. That's my go-to song in terms of trying to test the bass. And honestly, the bass on both of these are pretty pristine. They're both good quality. I was thinking that the JBLs were going to have more bass, and I honestly would have traded off the size of these to have the better bass option that also has the clarity in the sound as well. But honestly, the Raycons were comparable in bass. So I like, if we're trying to compete with one versus the other, I went with the Raycons on that in terms of in terms of everything else with sound. But just to kind of keep in the sound quality, both of them have a very solid sound that I both appreciate. The songs that I mentioned, like See Now and other heavy bass songs, as well as songs that have heavy treble that I enjoy. For example, Coldplay's Ghost Stories album is a particular classic for me. I think it's a front to back album that sounds really good on this album. Also, lo-fi music sounds really good on both of these headphones. And so, to be honest, if you're going to look for sound quality, comparing the two, you know, either way can work for you. But when you add in the additional features of a smaller ergonomic one, the wireless function, the longer battery that has the Raycon that is actually, it says about 36 hours of charger time on the case, as well as 6 hours on the actual phone or an actual earbud versus 4 hours on the earbud on the JBL and 12 hours on the case. If you're adding in all of these functional thoughts and the USB-C and the wireless, the end result for me was that the Raycons were the better option. But I'm super interested. This was a cursory listen. I mean, I maybe gave 2 weeks of listening on both. I took a flight and I've listened to a plethora of music while listening to all of them. And I'll be honest, of the two, the Raycons kind of got me. And it's surprising to me, in large part because I was apprehensive to the idea of celebrities trying to sell me a product. That was the goal, is like, this is endorsed by this popular celebrity, whoop the bam. Personally, that's not something that turns me on. It actually kind of turns me off, and I was kind of pushing back. I was like, you know, I don't even want to get this. Like, who cares if, you know, this person or that person says it? Their ears aren't my ears. Also, they're probably getting paid to say that. I, on the other hand, am not. And after listening to this Raycon and listening to these JBLs, they're both a quality listen. But if we're talking about $80 to $80 and you have to compare the two, I think the Raycon knocks it out of the park. But give me your opinion down in the comments. Let me know your experiences. If you have any questions, anything I forgot, let me know in the comments below. And hopefully I'll get an opportunity to listen to some more headphones. Maybe I'll try and see if the E100s are as good as the E55s, or, if that's a better product and it's worth it. But until then, salute.